Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the After Dram. This is our more relaxed time speaking with Davin. We can put people on the spot, talk about our drams a little bit more, have a couple more. And the whiskey dive is with us finally. He was backstage and we couldn't get him on before. So, what we're going to do to start us off there is get to you, Don, and have you tell people about your dram because we missed everything, and I wanted to hear about Pendleton.
Oh,
you're on.
Not missing a whole lot, but I am drinking Pendleton, and as you can see, it's not bad stuff. I tend to go through a bottle, but my wife enjoys it too, which is always good. While I was drinking it, as you guys were doing your initial broadcast, I kept thinking to myself that I couldn't agree with Davin in his book until this sat for about 20 minutes. And then all that chocolate notes that the overtones that Davin talked about in the book are right up in the forefront of the drink. But right on the initial blush, it's all caramel, very rounded caramel. And like I said, after about 20 minutes, it's just caramel and chocolate, which is really kind of pleasant. I couldn't remember why I like this until I drank it again after 20 minutes, which is really nice to have something that you can go back to periodically and enjoy more as it breathes.
I agree. And some whiskeys need a little bit more help than others. And is it a really young one?
You could probably argue that it's young. It has that young barrel heat, kind of peppery, but not quite like lava, which you can argue with some. My Israeli whiskey I had last night was pretty molten going down, but it's not.
Milk
One
and
more
honey?
time. Yeah, it was milk and honey, whiskey in bloom. It's the releases they were doing to kind of introduce you to what they wanted their classic expression to represent.
Got it. Alrighty, let's get back to us over here. And I took the sweater off. I wanted to relax a little bit more, but I got my two brewers up, so that's kind of nice. And I'm on to my second dram as well. So I love this one. So the number 17. And again, that's what Dave gave me I worked for you last year pouring at what was it called? Hops and Whiskey?
The one at the Royal Kenora?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I can't remember what the name of it was.
Something like that. So This was my favorite of the night. I like rye. And this is my third favorite rye of all time. Oh, wow. Two of them are Canadian. The one that's not Canadian, I could say it now because we don't have to promote nothing but Canadian right now. It's the Millstone 100. Anyone else have that one?
Oh, that stuff is sensational.
Really that is my favorite. And the hint of orange that's in there was really surprising.
Lemon.
You got lemon?
Okay. I got lemon, but you're getting orange. It's citrus anyway.
Close.
But prevalent. It was right there. I liked it a lot. So, and I like my whiskeys that are a little bit different. So when you taste something and it takes you by surprise, that one did. The second one was Lot 40 cast strength, and any of them. I like all the cast strength Lot 40s a lot. But when I first tried it originally, I don't know if I was expecting to like it, and that's probably why I liked it so much. It was a very good dram, and this one, it surprised me as well because Dave, help me out on this. I think there's only 7% rye in here.
I don't think there's that much.
Not even 7.
Yeah,
I love
know, but I've forgotten already.
So it's that they use brewer's malt in it. So brewer's malt, rye, I thought 7, and the flavor on it was fantastic. So that's my dram. I'll talk about it a bit later after I nose it for a little bit.
No, you're right. I just looked at the notes. So you're right. 7%.
Hey, what a memory. Good job. Well, I did do a lot of talking about it that night. So make me feel good. And Davin, you feel pretty good about what went on?
Oh yeah, well, I think it was pretty good.
Yeah,
We talked about the
there we go.
different people's reaction to the book and things that they learned and things that they wondered about. It's always good to hear that it was worthwhile writing it. It was fun. Yeah, I'm looking forward to next week.
So section 2, and just doing that. Section 2 is going from page 31 to 51, or probably 51, 64.
31,
So,
64.
processes, microorganisms, distillation, and blending.
Yeah, a whole new thing now.
Oh, yes, I know.
Everybody
Oh,
else.
how Canadian whiskey is made.
So that's chapter 4, 5, 6, 7, I think. You guys have it open?
7.
And we won't be
4, 5, 6, 7.
7 starts page 51.
Oh, someone's got their phone on because a lot of.
Just like school run. Never-
Yeah, it's
never-
4 to 7.
All right. I'm going to try to invite a friend on here just to see if he's available. So I won't be able to see you for a second. You guys might be able to see me, but carry on if you wish. I did have one question. Well, I had a couple questions I didn't go through tonight, but I'll ask you now. Think about it. Is there anything that you read that you'll remember a year from now? Some interesting fact that just stuck with you. And I've got one, and I'll tell you mine in a second after I invite another person here. I don't have Kent. Oh, I don't have his email address. Oh, so I guess I'm not inviting Kent.
No,
All right. Any interesting fact that stuck with you that you'll probably remember in a year? Because when I read, I have tons of interesting facts. I have all my little sticky notes everywhere of stuff I want to remember, but this enables me to not remember it so I can go back to it. But any note that you guys remember, something that.
Lingen.
What's that? Actually, I'll make you large. Here you go.
Lingen. So after last year's Banff whiskey,
Yeah.
Don Livermore was up in St. Albert and did his presentation and was talking about Lingen and how it breaks down and the importance. To reread it in Davin's book, it's that it clicked for me. It's like, oh, this is that big key point, and it's connecting all these aspects of the whiskey process, and it's so important because it's that breakdown of that molecule, and it enables whiskey to be whiskey.
All right. And anyone else I can focus on?
Yeah, I'll read a quote.
All right, you're up.
So, and this is kind of like the stereotypical type mindset when it comes to whiskey. And I'm not sure, but hearing it from Davin just makes me want to remember it more, even though it's something I always repeat to myself, or I always tell other people when we're talking about whiskey. But one thing is for certain, though. In the marketplace, the most important ingredient in whiskey is not the water, nor is it the grain. No, the most important ingredient is the story. And it's so true. Like you can listen about the process for how you make it, the grains that go into it. Like I have Dry Fly just down the road from me, and they're one of the first distilleries to do a 100% triticale whiskey, which Davin even mentions in the book. It's a hybrid wheat rye type grain. But nobody goes to the store to buy the ingredients that make up the whiskey. You go and you look at
beer.
One more time.
Unless you're making beer.
Unless you're making beer, yes, 100%. But you don't walk down the whiskey aisle looking, oh, which one is 100% barley, or which one has 60% corn, 20% X, Y, and Z.
Right.
You look at the branding, and you pick up the bottle, and you read the story that's on the back, and it could be something that's super quirky, or something that just finds a way to hit home to you. Like Dolph, I'm assuming if you walk down an aisle and there's a bottle that's riddled with math equations, you'd probably pick it up and be like, you know what? I have to have this. It doesn't matter the contents of the juice
Very
inside.
cheeky, but yes. Yeah.
but quadratic equations are all over it, and you need to have that bottle. That's what we go for. We go for the story. The story is what brings us into it, and then further beyond the story is who you're drinking that with. Even when we did our live streams last week, you brought up the hockey gum in Wild Turkey 101, the playing card gum. I will never forget that now because of the experience of drinking it with you.
Oh, you're a good man.
Oh, you are as well. But that's the one quote that, I mean, it resonated with me before I read it in a book. But even after reading it, I can hear Davin saying it. And it kind of just makes it better. It's like Morgan Freeman reading you something, you know. You tend to hold on to it a little bit more. But that's the quote in the book that will stick with me probably forever in this first section.
Excellent. And Dave, do you have one, or am I skipping to me?
No, I want to jump in there on this one.
All right, hold up. Let's make you large.
Yeah.
There we go.
Watching myself on TV is kind of an odd experience, but
You're a superstar, man. Remember that.
Years ago, I've been in the sales game since the early 80s, and early on, one of my customers said to me, he said, "Best story wins." I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Best story wins." Like, we got to talk to the customer and get them engaged with us. And you got to have a good story. So, yeah, I listen for the stories. The technical stuff doesn't really matter to me all that much, but I want to hear the story. I was at a brewery in Red Hook, New Jersey, and the guy told me that I asked him where the name of his brewery came from, and he said some guy downtown New York made it up. It was in like the 27th floor of a high rise. I said, "Man, you just took away all the fun." It was called Flying Fish Brewing. I thought, oh, this has got to be a cool story where a fish flew into his boat. And he goes, "No, some guy dreamed it up in a marketing company." I thought, oh, man. Yeah.
Okay. The fish started talking to you and said, yeah, you could embellish a bit, for God's sake.
Well, I always want to know the story behind everything.
Yeah.
Like
mine is, so me, the one thing. Get me back.
Where'd the boss go? There
You make myself big. There, make myself more important. A freshly emptied barrel will contain. A freshly emptied barrel will contain 6 to 7 liters of its previous content. And I didn't know that. I was thinking it makes sense, though. You empty a barrel, there's still some remnants of the other spirit in there. But I didn't think 6 to 7 liters. And that's a lot. Sometimes we think of, a bottle that we'll buy, and the color of the bottle is pretty intense compared to what we think it should be. It'll be a third fill barrel, but deep red somehow. We don't know how that kind of happens, and I think this might have something to do with that. What do you think there, Devin?
Well, for sure.
See, now I can't hear.
I remember when Brook Laddie first reopened, and I was there, and they were taking whiskey that they had bought, that had been distilled at Brook Laddie, that was pretty flavorless, and they'd put it in a wine barrel for a month, and it would pull all this wine into the whiskey. Then they take it and put it into another wine barrel to get more flavor. They might do that 3 times to get something that had enough flavor that people would buy it. But people would enjoy it. But a lot of that comes out of the wood. I mean, that's how they add flavoring to Scotch. They use a wine barrel, and it pulls wine or sherry or whatever out of the wood into the Scotch. It's really quite well known. And the thing is, the barrels, when they make the barrels, they heat the staves. Those staves are really, really dry. And when you put that first spirit in there, or wine or whatever, the staves just suck it right up like a sponge, and it sits there. But when you put alcohol in the barrel after you empty the barrel, put alcohol in, it really kind of pulls all that wine out of the wood, and it's replaced by alcohol. And it doesn't take very long at all.
Yeah, I can see that.
For that exchange to happen.
Okie dokie. Let's do this where we all share the screen. You weren't there, Don. Our little pre-party where we're trying to get everything related. We're trying to get jived up. I said, "What's your favorite Latin word that you saw in there?" Because I noticed that in many different spots. So it's really geeky of me, but mine was Hordeum vulgare, which is barley. But it sounds great. Hordeum vulgare.
All of a
And
sudden, I can't hear Dolph.
So mine was Triticum estivum.
oh, and what was
Estivum, wheat.
Davin,
Barley was my close second.
sorry, say it again.
Barley was my close second.
Oh, good. The vulgare part got me.
Dolph, should we do a Latin version of the book?
No.
A
No.
Latin edition?
If we do 2 or 3 words, my French, I can pick up the Latin because of my French background. And a whole Latin book would be fun, I guess. No.
For 3 people.
No, we shouldn't. There'd be some people out there that would love it, but
No, I can hear
it would be a hard read. Gavin.
A
We want
PDF
to-
for giggles would be fun.
So, here we go. And so, anyone else have a different jam? Because I'm ready to talk about my 2 brewers now. Anyone? There's your 2 brewers.
Oh,
Steve.
there's another 2 brewers.
That's number 9.
I can't hear Dolph. Like, can you hear me, Dolph?
I can hear you perfectly, Dave. You know what? Why don't you turn off and re-click the link, and it'll pull you back in. Because
So
you couldn't hear Nick the
Dolph
last
was
time.
doing all the talking, but I can't hear a damn thing.
Okay, I'm gonna mute you, Dave, for a second. I can hear him in the background talking to his lovely girlfriend. I can hear. So you've got the Nick. Which one did you have again? That was 6.
9.
9.
Can you hear me
Which
now?
one's the 9? Is that traditional?
No, it's special finish sherry PX.
Oh, nice. Because how many do I have? I have the 2. I've got the 2. I've got the 13. And I've got the 10.
Way to go.
So 2, 13, 9, no, 2, 13, 10, and 17. Dolph, can you hear this? No. Let's
Hold up the sign, Dolph.
okay, I can hear you now, Dave. Dolph, can you hear this? No. Talk louder.
Yeah, I've got nothing from Dolph at all.
He
Okay.
can't hear you. Dave, Dolph cannot hear you.
Oh, I can hear Dave. I can
I'm
hear
going to
him.
leave and come back again.
Yeah, sounds good, but
I'm going to give that a try.
okay. See you in a sec. He'll be
I'm
back.
just going to.
All right. Can everyone hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. It's a little disconcerting. Well, and with Nick at the beginning, it was kind of funny because Dave was saying, I can't hear anything Nick's saying. I said, for the next half an hour, don't talk to Nick whatsoever. Don't say a thing. Talk back and forth. We can do this. But so, Don, what do you think of the production from the outside?
Oh, it was fantastic. All the transitions were perfect. A couple of them were a bit slow, but it all worked out very, very well. You
Nice.
guys sounded like you had this planned for a week rather than just a 30-minute pre-stage.
Oh, we're good.
But no, it sounded very good. It looked very good. There was no lag. If we hold up a book again,
Yep.
Devin, hold it at your face, and that'll be the best. You had a couple times where you're pulling it down here, but otherwise, I mean, it was completely readable or legible as you're holding it up. Even your second book, it showed up a lot better than the first one did. So, no, it went very well.
Now,
Yeah.
This is
Davin, I'll
my second
know
book.
about your background as
That's
well.
perfect spot. Yeah.
Here's the first one.
Second edition.
Oh, I
Yeah.
got that.
Dolph showed me that one when we were sitting in
Yeah.
your class.
You signed it for me. That day at your class, I got mine signed. I got the one that you left on the table,
They were fighting me for it.
and I stole another one from the spot between Don and I. So I got all of those signed that night. I gave the other one away as a gift to my buddy who was supposed to be on tonight. So it's good. But Don, tell me, what's your background in whiskey? I know that you were a writer for, was it Whiskey Magazine or, sorry, I can't remember.
One didn't show.
Wait, were you asking me?
Davin?
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, me?
Yeah, Davin.
Well, you said
My
Don.
background to whiskey?
Oh, your background in whiskey. You were writing for which magazine prior to this?
Well, I wrote for Whiskey Magazine
It was
and Whiskey Advocate and a whole bunch of lifestyle magazines, things like that. I started out writing with the Malt Maniacs, though. And that, we started in 98.
Yeah.
And that was really there were no websites, no blogs or anything back then. So I think we were the first really successful whiskey website or webzine or whatever they call it. And it was really something. I had no idea that the internet would ever become so popular or so powerful. But so that's where I started. Then I wrote for Whiskey Magazine, and it really has all kind of happened naturally. I didn't really set out to do it as a career, but it's the only thing I do now, and has been for quite a while.
So what did you do before that? What was your full-time job or your first job out of university? It wasn't whiskey related, right?
Well, I've done all kinds of things. I did a lot. I mean, I started on the high school newspaper, and so I was always writing or publishing something as I was going along. The job that I did the most was working for the government in international development with an organization called CETA. So we did, in developing countries in Africa and Asia and South America and so on, did a lot of work with them. It was, I got to see, I've been everywhere except Antarctica with that job. So it was interesting, but in university, I studied, I worked in a barley lab. So, and there we studied all the N7 grains. So barley, wheat, triticale, rye. And then for my master's, I was in a corn lab.
All right.
And we studied looking at corn. So the whiskey grains I know pretty well.
You know what? When I was reading your book, I couldn't tell if you were a history guy or if you're a science guy. Like and that was one of the questions. Was it more history that you liked, or the science, or the writing like a traditional book? So you have a background in science, and the history just came?
Well, it's just so fascinating. But I mean, I'm an amateur historian. There's no question about that. I mean, I try to be quite rigorous. I learn, scientific methodology in school. So I don't just say, oh, they must have done this, or they or whatever. I look for the evidence before I actually say something. So that's why it kind of frustrates me when people jump to conclusions based on what they've seen elsewhere. A good example is, we know how distilling started in the United States with all these little guys with this little still, and people just assume that it was the same in Canada. Not true. No. It was big enterprises that came to Canada, because Canada was like 100 or 150 years behind, and we didn't start over at square one. Big mills established themselves in Canada because it was a big marketplace, and they started making whiskey from the leftover wheat. And so, but people just assume, they tell the same romantic stories about, some guy with a little still making 3 or 4, barrels of whiskey a year. And
Yeah, same thing with Scotland, right? The guy trying to avoid the tax man, making it on his farm.
Yeah.
And so who were we most influenced by? Did the big corporations, the large whiskey companies, did that concept come from the States, or did it come from
Well,
Ireland?
Goodham and Warts came from England.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, Weisers came from the States.
Okay.
Hiram Walker came from the States.
No.
Corby, I think Corby was an Englishman as well.
Brofman.
Seagrams, he was English, but he was in a German community, and so that's why they made those really heavy, powerful rye whiskeys.
Nice.
Uh,
Nothing from Ireland?
Pardon me?
Nothing from Ireland? Irish whiskey was the rage at that point. So I was thinking they'd have
the Irish they didn't want whiskey, they wanted alcohol.
Okay.
And they found it was much easier to make that from molasses. So, the Irish in Canada were making rum.
Okay.
Okay. And when they settled in Quebec, and they settled in the Maritimes, and out there they could get Caribbean molasses. So they whiskey wasn't the tradition in Ireland. Alcohol was the tradition.
That's a little bit sad because my background's the Irish Shaws, and we were in Prince Edward Island and Quebec, and I was thinking that we would have been all whiskey guys at one point. You're kind of bursting a bubble for me, Deb.
Well, that bubble's got to burst, my friend. The reason that they started making whiskey in Ontario, because Ontario is where Canadian whiskey really arose.
Yep.
The reason for that is because the boats couldn't get through the Lachine Rapids to bring the molasses up there, so they had to use grain. As well, Ontario was growing so much wheat that there was all this wheat that they had available to them to make whiskey. The other thing is people think that Canadians used to make their whiskey out of rye, and that's not true. Rye was a marginal crop. It was made out of wheat, and they just added a little bit of rye.
For flavor.
The other thing is corn. People think was all corn. We didn't grow corn in Ontario to any great extent until about the 1950s because it's too cold up here. Corn needs a lot of heat to mature, so that they developed varieties that would grow in Ontario, and it was about the 1950s before they really introduced them. But before that, we either buy our corn from America or use wheat.
That was one of the things that surprised me, and one of my questions, what surprised you, was that we're mostly corn. And I wasn't thinking that way. I was thinking we were mostly barley, but then you said, no, barley's mostly for the beer. Yeah. And the micro distilleries, like, Yukon, 2 brewers, they're all barley. But I guess there's not too many who are doing single malt. Right? Yeah,
a lot of them kind of followed the Scottish model using, malted barley. But, it's really, I think it's hopeless trying to make Scotch in Canada because the main reason that people like Scotch, in my opinion, is because it allows them to wear a kilt.
I would buy a kilt if I could. And my first child that gets married, my wife already knows this. I'm going to Scotland to buy the kilt. She doesn't agree with it, but it's probably going to happen.
Don't buy it on the Royal Mile. You'll pay twice.
Just get a red and white kilt made.
I think I would look great in the kilt. I got to tell you. I don't know. But you're right, Deb.
That's the Yukon tartan.
Put that up again, Dave. I liked it. Nice light blue. Is that brown in there? Burgundy.
Well, there's all kinds of colors in there, and I read about it, but I forgot already. Everything has a meaning like they always do. Some lady in the Yukon does these things. So I got basically coasters.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
it's registered in Scotland also.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to go. So nice chatting with you. Yeah, I got stuff I have to do.
Thanks.
You guys all have a great night. Cheers.
See you later, Don. See you next week.
No, we didn't see you
on time next week, so you can be on with us.
I will make that happen.
So 7 o'clock is when we'll start talking, just to get everything ready, and then 7:30 right on the dot. We'll press that button. We'll be on.
Sounds fantastic. All right, I'll see you guys next week.
You have a fantastic time. See ya.
Yeah. I'm going to sign out too. I finished my dram, and I think I'm going to go to bed.
Well, it's late for you. Ottawa's 2 hours. So 10 to 11, it's all good.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming. I appreciate it.
Take
And
care.
it was,
Devin.
and we'll see you next week, buddy. Oh, and we'll see you next week.
Oh, Devin's back.
Oh, I put him back. Have a good night, Devin. All right. What you guys doing? Got a puppy on my lap. Life's pretty good. Puppy in my lap. Scotch in my bed.
She's gotta go.
Time to get.
Well,
Miss-
Nick, what's your cat? What's your cat's name?
That's Tucker.
Yeah, I saw him go by in the background.
Yeah, he was up behind me here. The other one's staring at me from across the room.
Well, mine came down and used the cat box, so it has a, yeah. It's gone already.
It's a little Ruma.
Yeah.
No, upstairs barking.
Pay attention to me.
At Dawn's.
It doesn't.
At Dawn's dog on TV. So it's pretty fun.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think we had a fun night. I enjoyed it. And I'm looking forward to next week already.
So,
So-
what's happening next week other than we're going to do those 5, 6, 7?
Yeah.
4, 5, 6, 7.
4, 5, 6, 7 here. Hold on. It's section 2. I don't have the chapters with me, but it's section 2. That's April 4th. And I'm just responding to Kent. Actually, you guys can read the comments on the side, correct?
No. I don't
No.
Click the box that says comments.
I
Do you see it?
I don't have one.
On the right, there should be 4 boxes. One that says comments, and well, I'm not sure what yours say. Mine's a little bit different. Nope, because that way you'll be able to see the comments from the other people. There's private chat that we could talk to each other with, and there should be another one that says comments where you see everyone's comments.
Yeah,
And-
I can see it.
All right. Kent Hughes asking some questions in the background. I said everyone should be able to see it.
9 was when two brewers started to get really good. Yep, they did, and it's a PX, Kent. So anytime I get a good PX, I'll drink it.
Oh, I missed some comments up there. Woo. Not tonight. Okay. Kent says he's still in love with release 17. Good. Mine's just about done. So
I'm trying to
actually,
figure-
that's the one I'm going to get from you is the 17 again because I don't want to run out. And the newest one I can get sometime soon.
Yeah, I don't expect it to go really quick with the way things are going.
Well, no one's getting out to the stores. Although a lot of the stores are doing free delivery, so that's kind of nice. And you have yours at Unwind? Oh, yours. We're at the
Sorry.
same level, Nick.
About the same level.
Yeah, I think so. Well, you're a bit lower. Good for you. And Dave, where is it?
It's at Little Guy Liquor because it released on Wednesday, so they picked it up first.
Okay.
I haven't
And
talked to anybody else since it released.
Where's Little Guy Liquor? Is that St. Albert?
Park, Baseline Road.
Sherwood
Oh.
Park, yeah.
Got it.
Baseline Road by the Home Depot.
Perfect.
No, they're right behind the Petro-Canada on Baseline. It's right next to the. and I hate
Yeah,
to get
that's right down that way. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Well,
not far-
thanks
it's-
to everybody. I'm just going to wrap this up. We'll keep talking a bit right afterwards, but we'll end the broadcast for everybody. And what
Okay.
did we decide we were calling this?
After Drown.
After
After
Dram. So thank
Yeah.
you for joining us in the After Dram. And we will see you guys hopefully next week, 7:30. I'm going to see you two at 7 o'clock, but everyone else 7:30. And let's ask Davin a little bit more pointed questions. I want to put him on the spot sometimes. Let's see what happens. He has a lot of information in that brain of his. He's got a lot going on, so you can get him going. So I think I'd like to try to do that next week. Kind of poke a little bit. See what we can get out of him.
No, it was great listening to him today. I mean,
Yeah. Knowledgeable guy.
Well, that last bit that he started talking about was really interesting. Like just
Yeah.
before he had to go. Yeah.
So next week, Saturday, what do we say? It's going to be April 4th, right?
Yep.
Saturday, April 4th, 7:30 at night. We will see you all Mountain Standard Time. Thank you so much, and we'll talk to you later.
And Don knows that, right?
Yeah, everyone does. We'll see it. He was 2 minutes late and couldn't get on, so he'll have to be a little bit earlier. That's okay. I'm sure it's going to be good. And we'll get someone else.
Okay.
We'll fill it in so we have 6 talkers next week.
All right, great.
Harder for me, but more interesting for other people not seeing my mug the whole time.
So how's the sound level with me right now?
You're doing great, bud.
Okay. Well, the girlfriend showed me where the buttons were, so.
Have a fantastic time, everybody. We're going to log out now and enjoy a dram, talk to friends. Don't feel isolated in these days because there are people out there that want to enjoy your company, and usually with a dram. Yes?
Goes
For me,
better
it
with
is.
the dram. All right.
I think
Thanks, Dolph.
well, me especially. Ciao, guys.
See you later. Bye.
Bye.